from losing and hurting to thriving. So just getting that clarity that I needed to say, stop being a generalist and focus.
You found the Live Local Marketing Podcast, where business owners share their knowledge about what's working in the market today. Welcome. Thanks for joining us for the Live Local Marketing Podcast today. We're with Eric. Sir, how are we feeling?
I am doing well, right? And we kind of talked about it before, even hitting the record button. It's funny that it's Friday the 13th, and then the next day is Valentine's Day. So very exciting time, but talked about before, but I'm doing well. Thank you. How about you?
Doing good. It's the gamut of emotions, right? We're hitting all the emotions, the scare, the love, the happy, all of the emotions in one weekend, which is great to see.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll do a little bit of background so that way the audience knows you a little bit better, and then we'll get right into the questions.
Sure.
Eric is a business strategist. He's an author. He's an experienced expert in organizational operations with over a decade of entrepreneurial success under his belt. Specializes in helping small business owners optimize their systems and procedures for scalable growth, while also guiding professionals in advancing their careers with strategic clarity. The founder of Eric B. Horn Career and Business Solutions and a sought-after speaker, he delivers actionable insights rooted in real-world experience. Man, we love the real-world part of this. We are strategic and we're practical here at Live Local. So, sir, are you ready for the questions?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. All right, talk to us about a time where you had a loss, but it turned out to be a win.
Ultimately, the first 5 years in my business, I worked on the career side of the house, and my mentality, when I was more from a generalist perspective, I'm thinking everybody needs a job, so I can just focus on everyone. And I lost a lot because I was not specific, geared towards the group of people that I wanted to serve. Right, my mentality was more from a general perspective and more strategic. Then it got to a point where a mentor of mine told me, you need to focus on a specific group of people. And once that light bulb went off, I started to focus specifically on recent college graduates. And when I focused on recent college graduates, it helped me talk to them in a specific way. It helped me leverage experiences or their overall challenges in a specific way, where it took my business from losing and hurting to thriving. So just getting that clarity that I needed to say, stop being a generalist and focus on a specific group of people, turned my business around. So that gave me the insight to not just be general with anything that you're doing, have a specific group that you want to serve, and then talk to them in a manner where it resonates them the most. So that was one way that I took a loss, and it was a hard loss. 5 years.
5 years is a long time.
Very long time to where I was in my business.
So let's talk about the college grads, though. It's a great niche because they're the ones that are really having a hard time. Their lack of experience. They have a bunch of pedagogy, but they don't have a lot of experience. But they're also like a point where they're not exactly paying a lot for services. Did you find like a hurdle in that?
Well, not necessarily, because once I got specific, I was a recent college graduate, so I knew exactly my financial situation once I graduated. And knowing that, once again, I was able to speak to them and provide them with resources that weren't super expensive. For example, books, workbooks, and things of that nature. Because even though you're a college graduate, I'm pretty sure if you are serious about investing in your career, you can afford $20 to $30, as opposed to what a lot of career strategists do. And no knock to them, they want to charge the most. But once again, not specifically knowing my target group, and once they graduate, they're dealing with the anxiety of not finding a job straight out the gate, the anxiety of student loans, and all other things that they deal with once they graduate. I knew for a fact that they can afford 2 or 3 cups of Starbucks a week. They can afford my overall resources. And once again, how the resources were designed, it was kind of like a staircase. For example,
that's what I was going to ask.
Help them get a job. Then based off of that, help you get a job, there's some other resources that are coming in, and then it's at a higher price point. But there's no way, and I've seen this happen before with a couple of other career coaches who focus in my area. No one has $500 out the gate for a career coaching service, and then they realize why their specific coaching is doing that well, because your target market can afford your service.
That's a very clever approach. I like that. Talk to us about one of your favorite strategies right now when you're taking on a client. Here's what I like to do with them. Here's what I get excited about. Talk to us about one of the marketing strategies you use.
Well, the biggest thing is meet them where they're at. Okay.
Okay.
And, recent college graduates like me, I'm able to relate to them on a higher level, right? And talk to them about the pain points because my books, my resources, my brand, a lot of it is geared. The advice that I give is based off of the mistakes that I've made either in my career
That's
or
good.
in business. So it comes from a perspective of I'm not up here and they're down here. It's hey, I know exactly where you were at. These are the struggles, and my whole brand or my whole, way to connect with them is I've been where you're at. Here are the mistakes that I've made because it creates a high level of transparency as opposed to what a lot of people do on social media now. They make it seem like they're perfect. No one's perfect. But if I can tell you, hey, I had this problem and give you more personalized stories, but then give you the strategy on how I
Go with that.
that they can apply in their career or in their business, it helps them resonate, right? I'm big on here are my mistakes. I'm not perfect, but with me not being perfect is not an excuse for you not to apply this strategy, apply this tactic that could help you get to where you need to be in your career and your business. The high level of people resonating, it diffuses them in a sense, as opposed to I can never do what Eric has done. Eric is up
Yeah.
here. Yes, you can. It's just the steps that you need
Yeah.
and the mistakes that I've made that I don't want them to make to be successful.
So do you find any pushback in the sense that they're like, the business is changing these days. You didn't go through the things I went through. Do you ever get that pushback? Do you ever see that kind of response? A quick break before we get to that next answer, because I know that answer is going to be brilliant, which is why I chose this moment to interrupt. If you love what you're seeing and you want to run your business off of warm marketing referrals, visit our website, livelocalwarmmarketing.com. It's got valuable resources, office hours, memberships, the book, an array of resources to help you get rid of cold calls, cold leads, door knocking, and run a business you can be proud of through referrals and warm marketing. Now, back to the show.
Yeah, and my thing is I don't want to hear those excuses because it's a high
Yeah.
level of accountability. For as many excuses that you have, there's still successful people out there. And I'm big on success leaves clues, regardless of
Yes.
who you are and where you are in your life. There's someone that can give you the tools that you need to be successful. But a lot of people lack that overall accountability because it's easier. Like if
It
you
is.
were coaching me, it's easier on my end and safer for me to push that accountability on you as opposed to me accepting where I am currently in my career and my business and then putting in the work to move forward. Yeah. So when I hear that, I really don't. And a lot
Yeah.
of clients of mine don't like it, but at the same time, the accountability is on you. You got here for a reason. Accept that, and once you accept that, then we can figure out what we need to do to help you move forward.
Nice. So much of your process and strategies is mindset, right? So let's talk about what's part of the process. You seem really, really hands-on with this, and that makes sense for how you do it and how you approach it. What stuff do you still handle hands-on? What stuff do you hand off to a team member, and what stuff do you hand off to AI?
AI or the social media and the research in a sense, because
Got it.
of course, when it comes to solving a problem for my client, the problems don't change; they just evolve. So knowing what these problems are, and even for my own narrative, I'm not the smartest knife in the shed. I have smart people around me, so I utilize AI to say, what are the new trends or the new challenges that are coming across for my clients that I can actually apply. Another thing that I hand off to teammates is overall onboarding because I'm a system and I'm a process type
Perfect.
individual, right? To onboard somebody, you don't necessarily need me to be there to onboard you, but you need good people that will take you to the point where once you become a client, set you up for success. And that's the biggest thing. So when it gets to the point when they are in front of me, we can get through we've already gotten past all of the low level administrative stuff to the point
Yeah.
where our time is to focus on identifying what's going on, even more importantly, giving you the strategies to help you be more successful. So it's a full nuance of all of that, because my time is just as important as my client's time. And if there's systems or other people that can get me to the point where we're face to face and that I can actually serve you, then why not utilize it, right?
You do like a lot of when you talk about onboarding, are you doing like a lot of like checklist style onboarding, or is it like what do your systems look like? I'm curious.
Yeah, it's checklist because it's the same thing. I'm big on what are the repeatable things that you can do in your
Got it.
career or in your business to create a predictable result. If I know for a fact that in my business, if I want to onboard a new client in 2 to 3 days, here is the checklist of the exact things that need to happen to get to that particular point. And I'm big on getting what you have in your head and putting it on paper. Also,
Yeah.
because my teammates, and I call them teammates, they just don't work for me. I like to promote it from within. So if let's say Amy, all right, because um, she's very good at what she does, but I know for a fact that she wants to move up. My thing would
Yeah.
be who can Amy train to fill her position
That's
so
good.
transition in and transition out. So why keep it in her head, have it on a sheet of paper to say, hey, hey, this is what you
Yeah.
need to onboard a new client. If you have any questions, please let me know. But everything that you need is on a sheet of paper or in a Google Doc or whatever have you. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we're big on checklists. Repeatable.
Yeah. So you and I we share that. I like to have the checklist, but it's an always evolving checklist at the same time. Like it's a checklist, but it's also like living. So I
Sure.
get you. So when you get these young people out of college and that's your niche, people, the branding has got to be not great because they're just hopping out. They don't necessarily know their brand. How do you have that conversation and have them set themselves up for their brand and knowing who they are?
Well, the biggest thing is one, know where they want to go. And it's a lot bigger
Mm,
than just they got what degree that they obtained, right? Because that's
yeah.
key. Because you have a lot of recent college graduates, they get a degree, but they don't even use it, which
Yeah.
whole nother story within itself. But one key
That's
strategy
me.
I tell, but it's understandable because things change, right? But I look at it from the perspective of you spent all this time, effort, and money. Let's utilize what you invested everything in.
Yeah.
So one thing that I do, even though my target market is recent college graduates, one jewel that I give college seniors and college juniors: start information interviews, right? What a high level
Mm,
interview is basically an interview someone in the field that they want to get in. So if you would do that, right? If you do that for starting your junior year, right? One, as you do these informational interviews, of course, you're learning about the industry. Thus, you're learning from a brand perspective how you want to show up when you graduate. But the biggest thing is every professional that you meet, you're building a relationship with them. And this is something that a lot of college graduates don't do until they graduate, as opposed to approaching a professional. Hey, can I perform an informational interview on you? Doing that, it builds up a certain rapport, and it gets to the point that professional, as they build up that rapport, that's relationship building to the point where by
yeah.
the time they graduate, they have a sizable network that they can leverage to get more questions answered, potentially a job, and to help them navigate throughout their career. And doing all of that will help shape their overall brand, because a brand is a lot bigger than what you post.
When you have them do their stories, do you have them focus on where they're at, where they've been, or where they want to be? Like what area do you want them to focus on?
All three, because it's a story,
All
right?
three.
One
Okay.
of one of the biggest. I'm not a big hockey follower, but I'm big on quotes. And Wayne Gretzky said, he said somebody asked him how was he so successful. He said he doesn't go
Mm,
where the puck is, he goes where the puck is going, right?
that's good.
That's
Yeah.
vision, right? And
Yep.
knowing that, you would want to know where you currently are in your career, where you want to go, and where you ultimately want to be. It doesn't have to be etched in stone, but then it creates some sort of vision for them to work towards, because they can always adjust their career. But you not if you going into a empty dark room with no type of candle or any type of light, you're gonna fail. So they don't necessarily have to be 100% right. They don't even have to be 50% right, but they have to have something in front of them for a career path. We focus on career path, career path, career path, but we really don't have our recent college graduates say, "Well, what would you like to be?" That's
Yeah.
happening kids. What do you want to be when you grow up? If we can do that as little kids, why can't we do that as adults after we graduate from college?
As you do the step up process, as they grow, as they get someplace, what does the word useful data mean to you? Because there is going to be some really interesting ways of tracking progress, I assume, with your clients and with these young students. What is the useful data that you're using?
Well, at least to start out with, because at the stage that they, excuse me, first graduate, the huge metric is how many jobs have they applied for? Uh,
Okay.
what point did you get to the point? How many interviews did you have from the applications? Things of that nature, because metrics are key when you're in the process of actually looking for your first job. Because looking for your first job, you will get burnt out and you will start to feel defeated if you just apply, and
Mm,
focus on, well, I didn't get the job. Okay, out of the 50 applicants that you applied for, you've gotten 3 interviews. That's a metric right there, to the point where you
yeah.
can systemize that to say, okay, if I get 3 interviews based off of 50 applicants, so let me put, if I want 9 interviews based off of the data, I need to apply for 150 jobs. So,
Dang,
so
it's a lot.
yeah, it's a lot, but at
It's
the same time,
crazy. Yeah.
we're moving the needle as
Yeah.
opposed to ultimately feeling defeated. Because if you put the work in and ultimately you don't get what you want, you're not going to see the progress. For example, like the Super Bowl, if the Seahawks would, if the Seahawks kept going to the Super Bowl and didn't win, it may look as a failure as opposed to looking at what's worked, what hasn't worked. Let's apply more what has worked to get us to the point where we can become Super Bowl champions. So the metrics is key, especially when it comes to initially searching, applying, interviewing, actually getting the job. So data is
So once they
important.
get the job, how we shift in that data once they get the job? Because I mean, once you get the job, most people are, like, all right, what's my next step? Right. I have this job. Now I'm moving up. Let's do this. What kind of data are you using once they land this job?
The biggest thing is the first 90 days. The first 90
Okay.
days within the organization. Because the first 90 days is going to, and uh, most recent college graduates in the beginning, they don't agree with this, but your first 90 days is going to determine how long you're going to stay there, how long
Right.
you, right?
That's
And
cool.
there's a strategic way on how to incorporate your first 90 days. Your first 90 days is to look for problems, get quick wins, develop a rapport with your boss and your teammates, but still continue to build those overall relationships. Most people, even myself, right? I was just thinking, okay, I got a job. Let me just
Hmm.
focus.
Hmm.
For me, once I graduated, I was thinking, okay, now I got a job. I need to pay some bills, as opposed to how can I just turn this job into a potential career. And those
Yeah.
first 90 days are extremely important on how the rest of your time in that organization will go, but even more importantly, what your career track could potentially be.
Okay. That's good. I'm sure there's certain things, key indicators too, that you're looking for as you do that. So let's move into what's a strategy that you don't use? This doesn't work anymore. The ROI is not there. It doesn't help anybody else. I just, it's gone.
Um, Trying to fast track when
Okay.
when when not ready to be fast track, because for me, I'm big on speed. I'm very big on speed, and at the same time, I won't even call this a strategy, since I use my experience a lot in my helping my clients. I have the mistake, and I hold myself accountable of thinking that they're going to move at the same speed, have the same
Mm,
desire, have the same drive as me, right? To the point where
yeah.
holding them accountable is one thing, but I'm a part of their journey because I'm serving them and supporting them, but also I need to know when to remove myself from it, as opposed to,
Yeah.
if they didn't attend this networking event that was critical to their career or help them develop relationships, hold them accountable, but at the same time, give them some grace, as opposed to just saying, well, I would have done it if I was you. That's blown up in my face, to the point where
Yeah.
it doesn't, it used to serve my clients, but we're, like you said, we're in a different time when it comes
Yeah.
to serving people. That's a strategy that I've removed clearly, and give my clients a lot more grace because no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. And it's kind of, for me, in somewhat, I had to check myself and say, Eric, you're being a hypocrite, knowing that I've fallen at certain points in my career and no one judged me for it. So do not have the right to do that with anyone else. So that was a gut check for me, but I needed it to kind of uh, alter how I approach to continue to serve them in that manner. It was a lesson learned, and I needed it. I needed that gut check, 100%.
It sounds like custom accountability is what it sounds like. Like you have the accountability, but you customize it for each scenario. That's really interesting. A lot to be learned there, that's for sure. So before we get to your business, we let you do the outro. Let's talk about confidence, especially in this age group. There's got to be folks, people, young people especially, that are getting job interview after job interview, and they're just struggling with the confidence. I'm sure you have pep talks. I'm sure you have discussions with them, and they have to maybe realign their goals or however you handle it. What are some of the great strategies you've used to help that confidence for the young folks that are struggling a little bit?
Well, the biggest piece is to ask them why they don't feel confident, and that's the thing. They acknowledge that they lack confidence, but they don't take the strategy of reverse engineering why they don't.
Oh, that's good.
Excuse me, that lack of confidence, and that's the thing. Everything starts with the why, right? And once we do that, and sometimes it can get very personal, right? Sometimes the answer could be their parents never told them that they were proud of them, or feel like they've been carrying this burden of being a failure in their life. It can get very, very deep, but understanding why they aren't confident and identifying that is the best thing to do. Then we move forward on what can be done, because this world nowadays is so focused on the negative as opposed to even
It is.
perspective of, okay, you didn't get the job interview. Did you even reach out to them and possibly ask them for feedback that you can incorporate for your
That's
next
good.
interview? Oh, no, I didn't do that. Well, maybe that's something that you need to start to do, because if they're the gatekeepers, if they're saying we went for someone else, they've made the decision to say, you know what, you may not be the best person. You need to ask them why and take that hard truth, and then figure out what you can do to turn that negative into a positive. Sometimes we just accept the negative that's out there as opposed to understanding the why and using that negative and turning it into a positive. People will be surprised how that strategy is very key, because you're self-identifying what may be your roadblocks as opposed to mentally just thinking, okay, I didn't get the job because of X, Y, and Z, as opposed to finding out the real reason why, right? It could be something as simple as, okay, you're a recent college graduate. We're looking for someone with maybe 2 to 3 years worth of experience, or something on the lines of that. Something that can be manageable, but knowing that is half the battle. So just even asking the employer, can you give me some feedback so I can incorporate that into my next opportunity? Simple.
Man, all right. So this is such a rewarding career, because you're not just helping, I mean, literally rewarding, like you have it as your business. So that way you're having an income, but also you're helping a group of people that really need servicing. So it's fascinating. I haven't come across anybody that niches down and focuses on this group. So this is really impressive. And I have thousands more questions for you, but we're not going to do that today. We're going to get right into your business and let the people who also have lots of questions for you. Where do we get a hold of you, and what is the focus of your business?
Great. So once again, Eric B. Horn. The focus of my business actually is 2 tracks. Even though we focused on the career side, which I focus on career services for recent college graduates, but on the other side of the house, the Eric B. Horn Career Business Solutions is about helping entrepreneurs with their processes, procedures, overall continuous improvement, right? So we focus on those 2 tracks, and you can find me at ericbhorn.com. And also, because I know a lot of your listeners are on social media, if you want to reach out to me on LinkedIn, just type in Eric B. Horn. Please hit the connect button, because sometimes people just hit the follow, and I like to connect with people as opposed to following me. But
Nice.
out there, and I have all types of tools and videos and resources to help move the needle in someone's career or their business.
And if you're somebody that's still fresh out of college, you don't even have a LinkedIn page, you don't know what he's talking about, that's the place to start right there. Make yourself a LinkedIn page. Then you can friend him and follow him and see all the good stuff, because there's volumes of great information and systems that I can clearly are evident with your experience. So we appreciate your help and your time today. And thank you for giving to our audience.
No, thank you. And just continue to please do what you're doing. I don't think you have a clear understanding of how big of a resource this podcast is. So please to not only double down, triple down, quadruple down, because you're serving a great amount of people that need your knowledge, your wisdom, and your understanding. So thank you.
There we go. All right, man. We appreciate you. And if authentic, practical marketing resonates with you, be sure to visit livelocalwarmmarketing.com and learn to grow your business on warm marketing referrals.